she got money for the family.
God bless you, Jean.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. We're just privileged and glad to have Jean with us and Mark with us. I want to read you now, because that was just a wonderful introduction to this statement. I'm going to read you a statement by Mrs. Booth, and I'm going to ask you the question, if she were living today, what would she say? She wrote, "There has come to be a spirit of antinomianism abroad in the land, compared with which the antinomianism of bygone days was innocency itself." What's she talking about? Antinomianism. What does she mean by this antinomianism? Well, it comes from the Greek word nomos, the law, and an antinomian is a person who says that the law of God, particularly the Ten Commandments, it's all gone, all abolished. I hear it all the time. She says, "There's come to be a spirit of antinomianism abroad in the land, compared with which the antinomianism of bygone days was innocency itself. God helping me, I shall never cease to lift my voice against it. I frequently find in some writings and songs a total misapprehension as to the meaning of the apostles and a total confounding of the moral and ceremonial laws." Now, this lady is a mainstream theologian. What she is saying is good theology. She says, "Now always mind when you read anything about the law to examine and find out which law is meant. Whether it is the great moral law which never has been and never can be abrogated, or the ceremonial law which in Christ confessedly was done away. Mind which, for your salvation, may depend upon that point." This is pretty serious stuff. She says if you get the law of God mixed up, the moral law mixed up with the ceremonial law, and if you go out and preach that the moral law is done away with, Mrs. Booth said, you may just lose your soul. So this is not something trivial. Mind which, for your salvation, may depend upon that point. If you make a mistake there, you may be lost through it. Therefore, be very careful. Now I say that people confound these, and consequently there is a perfect hodgepodge of theology in this day which I defy anyone to understand. I want to say today, and I say this with respect, that we are facing in this land of North America a deluge. No, we're not facing it. We're in the midst of a deluge of crime. And I want to lay the blame today where it ought to be really placed, and that is at the feet of those ministers who teach that the law of God is abolished. I want you to visualize today, my beloved friends, a great dam. And behind that great dam, there is a sea, a veritable sea of water. But there are saboteurs. I'm talking today about saboteurs. There are saboteurs, and in their piety, they're saying it'd be better if we beat it down that old dam, we got rid of that old dam. And so they've been taking cases of gelignite and all sorts of things, and they have been working on the destruction of that dam that is holding back the flood of iniquity. And those people who've been working on that dam are politicians and preachers. And in many parts of America, they have succeeded in breaking down the dam. And when they broke down the dam, there came a flood of death and destruction. And so Mrs. Booth said, there's come to be a spirit of antinomianism abroad in the land. And she said, if you compare what's happening today with what was in the past, there's no comparison. And she said that 100 years ago. And today we're living in a time in America where if you want something, you go and take it. It's all right to steal. It's all right to curse. It's all right to kill somebody if he gets in your way. And we've come to the place today where our schools, our high schools, have become places where the teachers are afraid for their lives. And I want to say today, one of the main reasons is because preachers and politicians have destroyed the great wall of God's truth. And there's a flood of evil which is sweeping over the world. I'm here today, my friend, because I have a message for you hot from the heart of God.